Excuse me. Some time ago I got like the Destroy All Humans, like the first one, but ported on PS4, and I almost forgot about it. And can I make a video about? Yeah, just do it. We need a filler anyway. We have some technical difficulties. Why does this emulator not work on my laptop? Because it's old. It's at least better than a PS2, okay? Emulating stuff is different. Okay, I make a video. Seeing the light of day in funky 2005, the first Destroy All Humans started a franchise that, at least according to Metacritic, slipped off most quality radars after the second installment, and therefore seeping into obscurity, not really breaking into the HD era with its last release in 2008, leaving this game series to be nowadays considered dead. Until now, because very soon a remake of the first game will attempt to heave this buried franchise from the mud. But what is this original game about? Yeah, you clicked on this video, so yeah. Destroy All Humans centers on Crypto, an alien clone with the combined personality of an 80s anti-hero and an hyperactive troll child that both ran out of gum just right now. He, due to a stereotype-breaking non-green alien species starting to run out of DNA for cloning, stop commenting, gets sent out by a superior nicknamed Pox to source sweet brain stems from the most graceful of species. This of course leads him to 1950s America, the land of conspiracies to uncover and alien crash landing sites to fuel all sense of revenge, which he acts upon by making all humans distrust each other. Why did you not take this into account? Why didn't you, fancy smarty pants? And like blowing stuff up, but that's less psychologically thrilling, and destroying most humans, and making radioactive cows explode, because why not let modified human food suffer first to make this pain sting just that little bit more? Why don't you let me help? If you don't stop touching other people's stuff this very instant, future events such as these will affect our abysmal relationship in the future, but you keep on sticking your grubby little hands into my open wounds anyway like a truly uncaring psychopath. But how can you accomplish that? After you click yourself through those not really effective static tutorial screens society wouldn't completely move on from until the next two console generations or so. With your psychic alien powers of yours that run on your recharging brainwaves, of course. For a more direct approach, you've got an electroshocker for endlessly frying your way through human water bags. Another gun that also incinerates non-radioactive cars into teeny tiny particles. An alien grenade with which you immediately make your alien race DNA shortage even worse. And the thing everyone thinks aliens do, but which turns out to not look like what Saints Row told us, and I was disappointed, but it's like really satisfying to charge it up and make people's brain explode out of their skull to be easy DNA sources, and I don't know what this says about me as a person. Dividing humanity. All of you don't know anything, you pieces of. And with humanity, aliens mean America also being a somewhat prevalent aspect of this game. Crypto can use his brain powers to influence people into committing to their inner evolutionary animal instincts for distraction or to just let them get all their beauty sleep at once, giving you a nice defenseless target for some good old impersonation. Fueled by the weird brain waves. Those humans, it's really weird and kinda entertaining. This kind of infiltration would be considered a consistently effective human undermining method if it didn't immediately shut off near an agent with X-ray vision or something and no indicator for their line of sight. More on that later. Or sometimes kinda random, even if you have energy left, I guess. But besides the not having gunshot wounds thing, you will not miss it that much, because in this form you can't really do anything besides walking. No picking up ammo or those collectible things that give you a little bit of DNA. With said DNA, you can buy a few upgrades for some of your abilities at Pox, who just can't stop commenting like it's helping your skill leveling morale. While not really elaborate, you will not spend that much time here anyway, because there are relatively varied missions waiting for you. Including reducing humanity of... Did I just kill Albert Einstein. But not to forget the American dream of protecting stuff and collecting stuff. In one of the, for me at least, mostly bland-looking, indistinguishable neighborhoods, and that's the Santa Modesta because sun. Sometimes some combinations of both the following cars, kidnapping important humans, or manipulating their simple minds to do your random bidding sprinkled in, of which in my opinion there could be more to make the frosting nice. So to say. You know, as people say, I think. Most of these missions are done very quickly in comparison to many modern non-handheld games, in the best of times giving you a good little burst of excitement to keep the motivation to play a little more alive. But when not, you have to drag yourself through it because the game, in my opinion at least, could not communicate clearly what it wanted. You ate my chocolate bunny. Stop changing subjects. Cole, in one bite, what is wrong with you as a human being? What has anything to do with my laptop? I found a gaslight in the basement. How old do you think the spitting is? What is happening? For example, during one mission focused on eliminating the entire police force of Santa Modesta and surroundings, I thought I could just not completely commit to digital genocide. Cause I had already tested my new gun enough. So maybe I could just wait it out, but nope. Killing more seemed to be the only thing that let this unexplained bar drip down. Okay, kinda makes sense I thought. But then after a random amount of kills and the bar only halfway down, the game just decided that the mission was completed. Well, this of course could have just been a simple bug. Even without it, the game had more such moments in store where it gives the player an objective, but oopsie, you somehow did miss the first opportunity the developers intended you to scan someone's brain. And you have to somehow get yourself to the goal anyway, because you can't immediately restart a mission in the menu. Leading me to walk my little alien feet off until I found another random person with the pink indicator for quality faults apparently. Maybe it's due to me being now used to modern games trying to avoid leaving you stranded somewhere, and I know it would have just been as bad if Pox visited the Navi school of reminding you every second of the way how to breathe. But the bare bones mission log was only semi-helpful in that situation. You! Antisocial pile of melting ice cream shaped like a Cabbage Patch Kid. Why do you do the same unproductive? You look exactly like me, but you... After finishing all missions in the neighborhood comes the UFO destroying stuff segment, which even today is still a little bit visually impressive. But before that happens, you would think humans would totally not like this happening and would hunt the alien if spotted, otherwise it would have been too easy and the human impersonation had no purpose. And G-Man needs employment too, right? Yep. It's the year 05, right in the middle of the 3D GTA bloom, and of course we have a notoriety system. First police, then military, then the G-Man. It's not that bad. Just a bit annoying, and it gets sidelined by those timed missions that just have overlooking this pesky gunfire to reach the objective embedded in them anyway. Then of course followed by those later missions where they just throw agents, turrets and or killer robots at you, getting really frustrating without mid-mission checkpoints, because that would be too nice. In the process giving me the feeling that I only successfully finished the objectives by ignoring the most fun way of playing the game. AKA I slowly crawled behind the military complex, destroying buildings while my notoriety meter was still low before even the prompt came up to do so. But at least I was not shot to bits. And I don't want to spoil anything or something, but I have to say that maybe, just maybe, a boss with a random invincible health regeneration move who only stops that after several times using it is, in my opinion, a cheap way to pad out a fight. And here we don't want to think about the sheer angst-inducing idea of putting this right after a really busy UFO shooting segment. Because that's what we people with a degree in not being sad all the time refer to as fun. Thankfully no one put that in. Besides that, appear the missions to me a bit disjointed or even out of order. Yeah. I really had to add that. But moving on. After overcoming these black-suited turtles and leaving the suburbs decimated to pieces, you get tasked to collect more DNAs, so you get at least some upgrades throughout the game, I guess. And to have an incentive to return to the destroyed remains of someone's happy family life and probe the Nights Old, or to do some side quests. That are like short rampages, scattered around the map because it's still the GTA Bloom era. And like the title, and this alien does not need a reason to fry people. But what about me? If you feel too conflicted, there are also sightseeing quests. And it does not get that much more elaborate. I would have preferred some actual side missions like apparently Destroy All Humans 2 has according to Wikipedia. Because this open world is ridiculously empty in my opinion. Walking takes a while and your cool alien jetpack can't really compensate that. Especially when it immediately loses its steam, leading to the crawling sweeper's equivalent of button bashing. The digital rampage enthusiasts probably don't need as many city blocks for their good old blasting either. Surely, it looks quite impressive during the UFO sections with its realistic housing placements and wide landscapes. But it hinders, in my opinion, the walking and shooting gameplay the game is overwhelmingly made out of a bit too much. And here, we are moving into a land of both shadow and questionable substance of things and ideas. We just crossed over into the nitpick zone. Especially with the remake bringing a comparison with modern open world games into consciousness. I wish it was at least a little less easy to accidentally skip cutscenes. The game is a bit inconsistent with its button prompts, not helping me, the dumbest assumable user who forgot how to put on this human skin camouflage thingy. Not helping with that either was the maybe entertainingly named but not really telling list of abilities. For some reason you have to return to your mothership after each mission manually. An automated pop-up asking if you want to roam further around the map would have in my opinion been a more elegant solution. Plus, I always had the instinct to go back to my own locally parked ship, which only lets you smell more burnt houses. The mission intro font clashes in my opinion with the 50s yellow lettering, losing its purpose by not being easily readable. I wish you could just navigate in the menu to a full map instead of having to jetpack around in the hopes of the needed symbol appearing on this mini map. The classic occasional PS2 thing of using the R1 button for firing weapons not only made my fingers hurt with those charged attacks, but also reminded me that I have never finished MGS1 or 3 or Peace Walker or... Why are you interrupting me interrupting you? I know this from somewhere else. That doesn't invalidate my point! To round this nitpick section off, I have to note that I played the PS4 part of this game, which at least for me had some problems to dive in now. Graphical glitches, so many that it got difficult to read vital information at least 40% of the time. But even without it could have been displayed with a clearer choice of health bar background color. Textures blinking in and out of existence so fast that I'm not sure if I risk the health of people sensitive to flashing imagery if I don't slow the footage down. The level geometry is there too much, leading to elevating failure. During my playthrough, the game crashed on 2 different occasions, which at least according to the error code is apparently more a problem with the PS4 firmware? But just so you know that there's the possibility of running into some technical difficulties. While I somehow got through the game despite them, I highly advise you to play the original PS2 and Xbox releases, if possible, for a more pleasant experience. And of course, if there's a shadow, there also has to be a light in the form of some positive nitpicks. The cloning thing provides at least an in-universe explanation for your continued turret and grenade-induced deaths. While the secret scientist German accent is of course over the top stereotypical. Don't write something in the comments if someone watches this video. Don't. Thanks. Please. Danke. Or the German voice. I get this through. All the German voice lines I at least have heard are grammatically correct. That was so irritating for a second. Yeah. On another note, even if the over-the-top 50s as a setting or aesthetic are not the most freshly baked and crusty bread in the bakery of gaming, and it's intentionally clashing with the early 2000s style menus the aliens got going on, I personally like making it a good part of my varied and healthy gaming diet, especially in its B-movie parody form. By the way, while those billboards seemingly had an easier time with cloning than the aliens, I think they look just neat. Along the same lines, you can see the passion for the period the original developers put in just by examining the extra in-universe behind-the-scenes videos, or this Pandemic Vision logo, or a full-length Notorious 50s B-movie, and the alien attack scene of an even more Notorious 50s B-movie. Even with the constant button prompt in a picture and no possible video, I still respect that. Even with Plan 9 from Outer Space, whose narrator, Criswell, not only inspired the game's intro and outro, but apparently also had an actual local psychic TV show and books with predictions that thankfully did not come true. In my opinion, exchanges its trashy fun from the start with empty boredom at the end. They know why they did not put this full-length version in this game. Yes, I'm not only a PS2 font, but also a movie clip on a video game disc critic. Write this on my tombstone, please. Thanks. In conclusion, I am a bit conflicted about this game. Arguing is quite fun, actually. Something with the structure and gameplay just feels a bit off to me, and I can't completely pinpoint if it's because of me or the game or both. And I know some people like that slowly grinding and getting better through routinely failing, molding them into a better player, and I felt that too at times when I started rushing through the missions faster, but this efficiency was always a product of me getting frustrated and then me often dying anyway. You! Throw all those arguments at me to grind my energy down by distracting. I don't, but I will stand my ground. The more you push me, the more I will. And I know that I just make myself trip into the conflict between user-friendliness and making the games too easy. But does this game really want you, the player, to feel like this? I just wanted to state my opinion, you human skin-wrapped garbage can monster. So when the frustration bubbled to the surface, I was never completely sure if it happened due to me or bad luck or the slightly wonky console aim help or the level geometry or the respawning guards or the possibility of me just completely incompetently approaching these missions. I failed a lot, so it had to be me, and I know that I'm making it here a bit easy for myself. But it always had this aftertaste of again the game just not clearly showing what playstyle it really wanted to see from me. Boss, don't descend to that level! Don't tell me what to think! What am I supposed to do? I just want to get my emulator working! I personally think the stealth elements are not effective enough, but this game is called Destroy All Humans, but there are many missions where you get thrown under the bus if you just run in and shoot. While you can't really upgrade yourself into a less combat-focused corner like the original releases of Deus Ex Human Revolution, just to be steamrolled in boss fights, I think that making a more stealthy approach for more missions a consistently less annoying and more viable option could have widened the possibilities for different players by maybe having a stealth attack you can pull out in the skies before someone spots you, or just let me jump, goddammit. It maybe would have, at least for me, made retrying the missions much more interesting and less of a chore. And if you watch this video to this point, I don't want to be this negative. You don't care about us. No one ever got paid. And I thought I was the only one. This video is a bit unique. Do you know that you are a human-shaped, miserable ball of because I don't connect anything to this game. It's not a part of one of those long-standing, cherished story-heavy, multimedia oddity-filled franchises I and countless others have consumed for hundreds of hours. Have their characters and all their fan and interpretations internalized and are emotionally invested in. They're maybe not quite mainstream, but right fandoms. And here comes this game that I heard existed, and its follow-ups kinda failed, and I thought, what is this thing of which I personally at least have never seen any fan work or presence pop up in the public gaming sphere? Of course, this was the first game of the series I've played so far, making me a bit worried if my view on this even contributes something interesting. This feeling only got more solid with the realization that I logically just don't have a big enough emotional safety net of familiarity to make me just as excited about it in face of its many small flaws, as seen with other reviewers who thank the universe are not the same person as me in those two previous videos. Plug, 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 plug. No one has seen. But it also gives me the opportunity to somewhat distantly collect all the stones preventing a smooth voyage, and to hope that the remake will at least flatten the road a bit. Everybody, calm down please. Just breathe in and... Even if I would have been happier with a straight up reboot built from the ground up utilizing modern hardware to its fullest, but with the critical reception of the later games in mind, it probably was a better idea to win the player base's trust back by using a more critically acclaimed game as a basis, and at the same time having the opportunity to stock on sweet, sweet nostalgia. But then nervousness hit me when I read about the new developers wanting to use cleaned up voice files from the original game. Not that the voice acting is not on purpose campy or awesome. Most of the humor in its over-the-top nature did not even age as badly as 15-year-old things usually do. In my opinion, some of it is now even more fitting than ever in this weird political climate where it only gets absurder every second we are alive. Even with the weird 2005 references to Toys R Us sprinkled in, and the jumping from 50s parody point to the next without a really conclusive satirical narrative, and almost no reoccurring characters besides two aliens, which could just make it accidentally fresh nowadays, but... Stop swearing! I'm getting tinnitus! Why does this beeping not go away? What I wanted to say. It gave me the chilling fear that the new developers, Black Forest Games, could stick too closely to the original, even if they modernized it somewhat for modern taste, as stated in some interviews. The empty open world, however, was not touched upon in the ones that I at least found, giving me fears. So many fears. It would be too large and too empty at the same time, and the overall context of this game, even with an originally cut mission added back in, might not be enough for a modern game. The footage shown, at least at the time of writing, did not communicate any substantial changes in that regard, besides making the grass greener. Someone got run over by a car last week, and someone is literally shaking in the corner because of a flash bird. This is not how you use literally. But let's just hope for the best, because interviews and this short gameplay footage at least gave me also a hefty dose of optimism. While the number of weapons and options was okay for the first installment in a completely new franchise in the PS2 days, it did not scream for me nowadays the word variety. The new developers apparently tried to incorporate extra abilities from the second game, which, reminder, I have not played yet, and let you use more of them at the same time, which hopefully elevates the problem somewhat. Other additions according to this pre-alpha gameplay include a more clarifying interface, with mission bullet points, a dash, and making hitting people with your mind powers less cumbersome. Nice! Isn't that nice? I think it's nice. I don't know what this says about me. These stylized character models are, in my opinion, also a good choice, and I just can't say no to those nice explosions. Still not saying anything about me. Like, as an individual or something. And it's like a total sin to wish a German developer with a double to 2.5A-ish project anything else than the best. Because I personally want to see something else than Anno win the German video game prize every single year one comes out. Which of course does not mean that Anno is bad or something, it's just not my thing. More Annos for everybody else, but why couldn't the genre establish itself as our sole cultural export besides Rammstein that I have a personal interest in? Of course there's a German indie scene and like point-and-click adventures, but again, why could we not become the capital of, say, well-crafted character action games that contain attractive white-haired demon hunters whose name starts with an D and ends with an E, or Yakuza, or murder bears, or other specific niche stuff maybe only I care about? History, why? Someone just give Anno at least a little challenge already? I want to see a training montage, come on! But finally, what is Destroy All Humans now? It potentially could be a flawed blueprint for something improved upon, to which the baton of the now again emerging human kill-em-up genre can be passed on to, I guess. I will probably give this remake and maybe even the old sequel a try someday, when my pile of shame stops harassing my eyesight and now I have a hard drive stuck to my PS4 and I have like a literal big tower of games stacked on top of each other that is going to collapse if you keep on screaming. We didn't scream. We just discussed. Aren't discussions there to get to a productive decision? I only see a burning laptop there. I told you to keep an eye on you. I told you. Everybody. Someone just fell unconscious because of the smoke. No, I trust you. Stop undermining my authority. Guys. Who called the fire department? I was supposed to call. No,